Hey friends, Jason Lengstorf here. It's time for 4 Web Devs, 1 App Idea. This series brings together 4 web developers to build an original app based on an idea prompt and a tool or tech that must be used as part of the build. The endlessly creative Sara Vieira, Ben Holmes, and Michael Jolley join me for this one, and I promise you are not ready for at least one of these apps. Today's prompt is build a viral, shareable sign-up page. In addition to the prompt, each of the apps today needs to incorporate Clerk, who sponsored this episode and made this series possible. So huge thanks to them. Make sure to let me know what you like best about each of these apps in the comments down below. Let's take a look at the first build.
I'm a child of the 80s. And if you were growing up in the 80s in the US, one of the toys you're very familiar with is these little action figures called G.I. Joe. They made comic books about it, TV shows, movies about it. And on the back of every action figure you bought, there was like a little index card that would tell you, Snake Eyes, his real name is unknown. What's he like? What's his personality? All that garbage. And had their little picture there. So I went full on nostalgia. And no, I didn't spend, days building a database full of every G.I. Joe character of all time.
Is this perhaps your way of saying that you did, in fact, spend days building a database of every G.I. Joe? And
let's not get caught up in the details of the project. You sign up for CobraCon and you have to choose your allegiance. Are you going to be a G.I. Joe, the good guys, or are you going to be Cobra? And then you can't just be like Ben, a G.I. Joe. You have to have a cool code name, Cobra Commander and stuff like that. I use that database of characters and you choose which character you're going to be. And it builds you one of the old G.I. Joe index cards based on the character you chose. And then you can share it around. And I've watched the previous episodes and a lot of people are using JavaScript. Say, screw the JavaScript. I'm going to do all this thing in Blazor, like WASM kind of stuff.
A hero.
I built the whole thing in Astro with Preact and I rewrote the whole thing in .NET yesterday.
Yeah.
I love this. The last thing that I expected to happen is that we would see a .NET app in this show, which I'm thrilled about. The other thing that tickles me about this is that I have a suspicion that me, Sarah, and Ben have no way of knowing what the quality of this code is.
Nope.
So you basically get a get out of jail free card.
Checkmate.
It has about 3 times the number of files mine does. So I think that's good .NET code.
Right, that's how it's supposed to be.
Absolutely garbage.
There's only one page.
I should clarify, I wrote .NET for like 20 years before I got into like more JavaScript and stuff like that. But it's changed a lot in the last 5 years. And this Blazor stuff and Razor, brand new. So I was learning Blazor and Razor as I was doing this yesterday. And frankly, it's an abomination that Satya would deny being .NET. But it almost works, though. I think you'll like the concepts. What's funny is
that's impressive.
That's like, the Microsoft tagline for .NET. It almost works. So basically, there's only one page in the whole app. It's home.razor that, if you're logged in, shows you a me component, otherwise shows you a welcome component. One thing I'll note is, look at that page. That's very much like any of these. It's very much like, Astro laid out differently.
It's kind of got the single file component vibe, which is really interesting.
Totally. This is kind of funky because the whole project was easier with Astro and Preact, but it was primarily because Clerk has a lot of stuff out there for React, which was just like plug and play. They don't have as much .NET stuff, so there was a community library for the Clerk API that I got to use kind of server side, and then I did use the Clerk JavaScript for the front end.
Just the vanilla JavaScript library.
Yep, just the vanilla. And I only used it for the sign-in. Very componentized, and it was
I'm not terrified by it.
And what's cool is there's a couple ways to run it. There's a WASM way where it just downloads the whole thing. I hate that because it has the little spinner, it's like while you're waiting for this whole library to download. But there's also all server side, but then there's like a hybrid mode. And that's what this is using. So the hybrid really reminds me, I don't do React, but it reminds me of what I've seen with server components. Like I said, if you hate .NET, there's also a branch for Astro Preact.
Yeah, this one is.
And this was like a total abomination.
This is not simpler. This is not simpler, Mike.
Not simpler.
Basically.
Okay, I want to see this in action though, because now.
Same.
Yeah.
All right. Oh.
And And you know
Nice.
you got to go like, retro vibes. It's 80s, CRT.
Here we go. You customize the sign up. Nice.
I was busy.
How many hours did you put into this?
Well, I mean, I did build it twice. I mean, come on.
Oh,
Okay.
damn, that's cool.
Oh, this is sick. Okay, so
You've
you
logged
made it
in
through the first
before.
phase.
Yeah.
Choose an allegiance. Yeah, I think I have an old record here. So if I choose someone else, I'm airborne. Here's
You get
airborne.
Airborne's card, and your profile picture is basically Cloudinary's merging the two.
need
I
to
love
look
the
louder.
CRT thing is so nice, and like I like that you themed it where it goes
Oh, it
green or
goes
red.
green.
This is good.
So if you share on Twitter or just copy the share URL, you can probably see your OGraph, whatever.
Oh, nice.
This is awesome. That's what'll show up on social media. And this is so fun. This is
And I love the
this.
dashes. It feels like I could print that and cut it out
Yeah.
and like bring it to the conference.
That's because that picture is actually a cutout index card from the box.
Yeah,
They
right,
have the dashes
right.
around it.
Got it.
I understand. The Jason, it fuels us.
It does. I'll never use that data again, but I've got it. Darn it.
Just in case, right?
I don't know if y'all know about what kind of content I do. I do a lot of whiteboard explainers. So this is a group of anyone who likes web devs and likes whiteboarding, which should be pretty much all web devs in the world. So I built it using the ASC stack, Astro, Svelte, and Cloudflare workers. Basically the perfect pick for any viral event site. So there are a lot of sort of interrelated libraries and services here. Main one's Cloudflare workers. Every route on the site is deployed as a separate Cloudflare worker. In the lib folder, there's Lucia, which is an authentication library that helps you stand up like OAuth services, caching session tokens, and gating all of your routes behind an auth layer. So I did this on a stream, and the maintainer of that library said, I bet I could bootstrap this together, because Clerk doesn't have a library for Astro. There's no way to use Astro and Clerk like with a first-party thing. So the hack was to store a user's table in Cloudflare D1. Pretend Clerk is just kind of an OAuth service, so instead of like importing the sign up and sign in components from Clerk, you can actually just get a login page from them. So it goes to clerk.com/myapp, and it gives you a login with GitHub, and it'll redirect you back and give you the user token to store on your own. So I really use them as like an external login page. Not my idea. It is Pilcrow, the person who maintains Lucia, he came up with it. It works pretty well. Like there's a .SQL file where I stand up the tables. I'm not using an ORM, I'm not using Prisma or anything. It's just SQL. And Lucia is where it actually sets up the Clerk-Lucia relationship and also dumps everything into a Cloudflare table. And the rest are routes that manage everything. And I store the image as a blob, which totally won't run into database size issues ever. It's a 1080p image and I'm just dumping it in as base 64. Like the pioneers did. I'm hoping it works fine.
It was the first image.
This is where we started. But the reason I was kind of okay with doing this is it's not like a full-on image that you upload or anything. It is a canvas where you can draw stuff on it. And you can save that canvas into here. It's still a pretty high-res canvas because I wanted it to look nice.
I talk a lot about how much I like Astro, and this is like a great demonstration of why. So this is, I assume, when you load this page, there's zero or very little JavaScript at all if you're not the user.
Yeah.
And then if you're the user, it just boots what it needs to let me play with whatever ridiculous thing I'm sure you built in here.
Yeah, don't worry about that code. Oh my god. We can look at it if you want. Yeah, that's totally the gist of it. The Astro integration's come a long way. Right now, they have a dev server with MiniFlare, which is Cloudflare's like JS library. So you don't need Wrangler to do development. It'll actually spin up the SQLite table and do everything without
So
having
you
to like
mean-
build. And I know. Yeah.
So you mean I don't need a workers folder that each of them has a
Nope.
Wrangler? Wow.
No.
So basically, Astro became like a learner for Cloudflare endpoints.
Yeah, we're like the only one that is built on top of it to do that kind
That's
of thing.
beautiful, honestly. Like, there's no
pretty
way of
slick.
Yeah,
orchestrating
it's
that
nice.
kind of stuff. Like, even
Yeah, I
just
know.
for that, that's incredible.
I mean, shout out to Alex. He's the one who's maintaining the Cloudflare integration right now. And he's talking to the Cloudflare team more because they really want to figure out this, like, if you're in development, you're using Node and Vite, and then you go to production and it's not Node. So things can happen, and that is still true. So they want to figure out a way to, like, get a dev experience that is still the Cloudflare runtime. I don't know how that's possible because that would mean, like, Vite the underlying bundler would have to do a Cloudflare thing. But if they can do that, then hopefully Cloudflare could be something for any framework that uses Vite. This might be years down the line. I don't know if it's better to like go look at the website so we know what this thing is doing. I want to show it.
This is incredible. Yeah. Let's do Whiteboard the Conf. So we're going to draw Ben.
Oh, no. Okay. All right. Pretty good. Pretty good.
All right. Okay. Then we'll get some of this, and we'll do like we'll get the hair.
Nice. Yep.
All right.
Nice.
There's the hair. Okay. All right. And then we're gonna, I don't know. You've been eating like something lime.
I eat my veggies.
This looks exactly like you, I think.
Why so serious, Ben?
I don't even have eyes.
There you go. Now you have eyes.
I think that's a portrait.
And let's just make sure everybody knows that you're happy.
Nice.
I think without eyebrows, it can be a little threatening.
Yeah, it's almost Uncanny Valley, but that's pretty good. I like it.
No one is going to mistake this for anybody else. This is clearly Ben.
There's a label.
I'm now happy. I'm going to save.
It's too real. And if you share it, we should all be able to see that.
There it is. So now it's saying, join me for the greatest gathering of web devs and whiteboardists. That's on your LinkedIn, right? You're a whiteboardist?
A whiteboardist, yeah. I think I'm whiteboardist who codes mildly well.
I love the detail of the little tab at the top, like you're going to go hang it up on something.
I thought this is supposed to be a lanyard, and I've got to make it obvious somehow. So I think it came out pretty good.
This has such high potential to be a real conference lanyard where you get like a white thing that you would get like a marker with your badge check-in so you could actually draw as you go. I think you need to make this conference real, Ben.
Okay, so I use Next like a simp.
I won't leave the call.
So basically, I'm not using any database, and I'm using the app folder. Look at that. Okay, so what do we have here? Okay, so if you go to the page.tsx, I think. So that's the main like starter page, I guess. So we have a little page that basically says if you're signed into Clerk, if you have a user, then you are blah blah blah. Mm-hmm. And then you will tell you like see your ticket and stuff like that. And basically, if you sign up, it will automatically send you to Clerk. And when you come back, you go to your user ID, which is in /signup/user ID. I decided to use Three.js because I hate myself and make some models on it. So basically my idea was to have something, which I will not spoil, that basically inside of it will have HTML so that like if you do anything with it, it will like still be HTML. So you can like click inside of it and everything. So that's why you have a canvas and then a viewer and then all of that trash there. I made that trash. See, I don't know what that part.tsx is. I have no idea why a hook is inside the components folder. I can imagine myself looking at it and just being too lazy to make a goddamn folder. I'm just gonna drag it here. No one's gonna notice. Okay, let's just show the website so that stuff makes sense. So you can move around and the HTML stays there. Like you can select the text actually, for example.
Whoa!
Actual HTML.
What?
That took me so long.
God, this is incredible. Like this is so much fun. These are 3D models, right? That's what the meshes were.
Yeah.
And did you make these?
No. So I got them from Sketchfab. The bigger one, I got it from Sketchfab. Yeah, so I made the code and all the textures and all of that stuff. Yeah, so that's what I did. Thank you for your time.
There's just so much little clever stuff in here. This move here with like fitting HTML inside of this, at no point would I have ever considered that this was even an option. And I think this is, you're putting ideas into my head that other people are going to suffer for later.
Yes.
So that's cool. Yeah. And Three.js has been around forever, so I guess it does have this is a Three.js utility for HTML, or is that like a separate?
So this is React Fiber, which is basically like Three.js for React.
Sure.
Does anyone want to know what I did with TypeScript? I put a bunch of any's in it.
Which is the correct way to use TypeScript when you're not planning on doing anything with this after initial shipping.
Oh, React Fiber is like a library for using Three.js with React. And I think that even if you don't use React, like it's way easier than using Three.js, honestly.
Yeah.
That's the interesting thing. Like if you know no React, that's still easier. Like there's a bunch of helpers and stuff like that. It's really, really nice. Yeah, so that use frame basically is like on every frame, rotate the little thing a little bit. And I think what happens is that sometimes it renders faster on the server, sometimes it doesn't.
I'm actually a little curious about the server client part, because I know the default is like server rendering in Next. Like, did you have to wrestle with use client directives, and where did they have to go for this?
Oh, so yeah, if you go on signups user ID, then you have a page.tsx. Yeah, that's a use client at the top, basically.
And it just cascades down. Fair.
Yeah, basically. I couldn't really do this on the server. I think the main thing, and like, I think a lot of the reason that I keep going back to Next.js is because of the API routes and how easy it is to deploy it and like use it locally. Like, even if I sometimes don't use the SSR part of it.
So what I ended up building was an invite to an exclusive club that doesn't exist, but it's called Club Sandwich. And the hope was that people would want to get into this secret club where you can go and have any kind of sandwich you want with no judgment. I set this up as a Nuxt site. I haven't worked with Nuxt a lot. I was really excited to get in here and play with it. I set up my homepage here, and it pulls in like a Clerk view, the community integration, which I thought was really fun. I'm using Supabase so that you can save the settings that you have, because I wanted people to be able to customize their invitation. The idea here is that once you get into the club, you can invite your friends to join the club as well. And you're going to do that with a customized image that includes your favorite kind of sandwich and your avatar image that I think I'm pulling from GitHub. Then I use all that and I build out.
What does computed mean?
It's basically so that I can do like a derived value off of a supplied prop. And so this let me do, what did I do? If, if you have like a handle load, then you can return back this loaded Boolean value. And then that tells me whether or not you are loaded. So I'm basically kind of dealing with all this stuff. What we do here is we get the current user out of Clerk, and then we grab their token. We're integrated with Supabase and Clerk so that I'm using Clerk to make sure only the current user can modify their own records in Supabase. And then we have an actual invite URL, which is the shareable bit that they can send out. And then to build this out, we have another computed value. So we use the current user's value and we grab out their avatar image URL. We encode that and then use Cloudinary's fetch API to grab that remote URL and let me do some transformations to it, because I need it to be, 500 pixels wide, square. We want to focus on their face. And then I need to position it in a certain spot to be in the template. We put in the favorite sandwich as like the secret password to let you into the club. And then we grab an image that I've already uploaded, put in the current favorite sandwich, which modifies the overlay that goes in here. And then we actually, I got really into this. I figured out how to do blend modes on images. So like they're using the overlay blend mode. And then all of that goes into the template, which has all of these other pieces in it to style the text, place the text, position things on the invite, all of those things. And as you can see, this is a brutally long URL. But the end result is you have a very customized shareable URL. And that all happens with we're doing a watch. So whenever somebody edits the invite, we need to re-update it, regenerate an image to reflect their updated preferences. Got a helper to actually save that. We're just using the form data API. And that is how this code works. So you show up, you can join the club, hit come on in. And then when you log in, you authorize, and here you go. So you can customize your first name. So if I go in here and I change this, it'll update in this image. And you can see that like this is an image. It's not like text overlays or anything like that. It's a real image. And then when you choose your favorite sandwich and you update, it'll update this overlay in the background. So based on what your favorite sandwich is, it generates that image. And I needed a loading state because generating a new image on Cloudinary can take some time, because as you see, I'm doing like a ton of stuff on it. So everybody gets their own unique shareable URL.
You made a URL that has more code than I've written in the past year.
You actually have a media preview? I absolute position text with Tailwind. I didn't do this. So I've learned about 5 services I could have stapled together.
This is great.
I'm curious, what are you saving into Supabase?
So what I'm saving into Supabase is the user's ID and the image URL. That way, when you pull up that record, I don't have to generate the URL on every page load. So I'm doing that in this image source here is just kind of being done on the user side. So whenever you change your image, it will update, which is part of the reason why I'm confused.
Is this on a free account on Supabase?
Oh,
Maybe they paused the project.
Oh, yeah. I wonder if it is. Yeah. Supabase.com.
Ask me how I know.
Yeah, the same thing happened to me literally yesterday working on this.
Restore project. Hey, so maybe it wasn't my code that was broken. Let's find out.
No, I think it was that. Yeah, it wasn't saving stuff.
That could take some time.
Okay.
Ask me how I know. One of the things, though, it's super impressive, though, that so much of it worked without the database.
But yeah, so this is the plan, right? Once you get in, it will take you through to the homepage and ask you to create your account and log in, right? So that's sort of the goal here. That's the plan of what it should do. And if I was paying for Supabase, it would be doing it right now. If you have an app idea, make sure you put it down in the comments below so that we can build it in a future episode. And remember, if you like this show, the best way to show your support is to subscribe, hit that like button, and share it with your friends so more people see it and we get to make more of them. Thanks again to Clerk for making this episode possible, and make sure you watch this one next for a little more web dev inspiration. We'll see you next time. Happy building.